Your boy Kachi coming to you live.
Alright guys, welcome back to another Warframe video. This time I'm going to be talking about you probably want to say a hot little topic for the past couple days. Me and a couple of people were getting into it a little bit, not too personal, like, you know, but we were just trying to make our case as far as with Ivara. Some people don't like her, and then some people say otherwise, me included. I was stating my case as far as with Ivara being tied with Ashe as the best solo frames in the game, but at the same time Ivara is so good team base wise that she offers so much to the team and more. So practically I'm just going to talk about the abilities, and also at the same time, is this a must have Warframe for new players as well? Now getting back to the real question, now is this Ivara good? How good is she? Well, you're going to have to go through the abilities. Quiver. Now, you practically have a number of arrows at your disposal. You have your cloak, arrow, you have your dash wire, you have your noise, and you have your sleep. Now, in two cases, most people will be using the cloak and the sleep. Cloaking practically means you put a bubble around yourself, or whichever you decide to place your arrow in, and place a bubble right there, practically cloaking you for a certain duration. Now, secondly, you might want to use your sleep arrows. Sleep arrows is really good as far as with crowd control. You could put a number of people to sleep, and if you have a dagger with you, you could practically just do stealth finishers on them. GG. You don't need to worry about them. Now, noise arrow, nobody really used noise arrow because at the same time, why you want to alert the enemy to your presence? So, clear that. And, you know, last but not least, you have your dash wire. People use the dash wire more than the noise arrow, because the dash wire, you could use that to get to certain places, use that as a vantage point to take out enemies. Now, you have another ability, which is Navigator. I typically don't use it, but at the same time, it's really good. You could take control of a projectile, and it has a damage multiplier on top of it. Now, you could reduce the drain if you want to, you know, energy per second. It has a multiplier growth on top of it. So this ability is really good. Now here's where it gets real interesting as far as why I say Ivara is like top tier, like the best solo frame in the game, tied with Ashe, and that is Prowl. Not only do you become invis, but the second part of it is that you get to steal loot from unsuspecting enemies, and on top of that you get a headshot multiplier. So think about this: when you go into Prowl, you're practically invis. You could whip out your Artemis bow if you want to, which is her last ability. But you can whip out the Artemis bow, or you can still use your Dread or your Rotka Ceranos, any kind of, you know, weapon, as long as it keeps you cloaked. Because if you make noise, you come out of Prowl. But as long as you stay silent, you use your bows, you're practically good. So when you land a headshot, you get a headshot multiplier. So you get an additional damage on top of it if you land a headshot. And at the same time, you couple that while you're using Argon Scope. So you're talking about double headshot multiplier bonus. Because remember, Argon Scope, you get a headshot, your critical chance increases, and on top of that, you add Prowl's headshot multiplier, and you could increase that with power strength mods. I mean, that is just flat out nastiness. And like I said before, I was talking about Artemis Bolt. That is her last ability. Now you could put, you know, power strength on it, and at the same time it has its own fixed multi-shot of 7. But you can increase it with power strength, like I said, as far as with the damage, but the multi-shot stays the same. But you whip out your Artemis bow and you fire multiple arrows at your enemy. It could be horizontal or vertical. Now, it's up to you which way you want to go with it, but bottom line is, once you whip out those arrows, it just clear out rooms. I like using it just for that purpose. You're talking about whipping, just taking out rooms. Like, it's just flat out crazy how much, you know, space you could just take up just by firing your Artemis bow. So that's one of the nice assets when it comes to using the Artemis bow. And at the same time, to boot, as a bonus, is that you don't consume any energy once you whip out the bow. You only consume energy when you release the arrows, when you fire it. That's another thing I like about Ivara's Artemis bows. It's not like, when you go into your ability with some Warframes, your energy start to drain. Once you whip out your Artemis bow and you have it on you, it doesn't drain over time the more you have it out. It'll only drain when you fire the arrows. So it's like you have to be really potent, really focused on taking out your targets, because if you miss a target, that's like, you just wasted energy on a shot that you could have landed. So I mean, Ivara is just that top tier. Yes, she's squishy. I mean, if you look at her stats, you'd be like, oh damn, her stats is like, like what the hell. Her armor is only at 65, health is at 75, power 175, and a shield 100. You're like, damn, she's so squishy. But don't let that fool you. Don't let that fool you, man. She is like the queen of not only crowd control, but also the queen of power. All that stuff. She's a huntress. And at the same time, with her arrows, it's so deadly that she could just take out rooms of enemies with just a single flick of her arrows just going all over the place. So she is just that top tier. And compared to the other frames, they can't do what she does. Her kit is so like up there, like she just puts herself in her own class, but like I said, as far as with solo frames, she's tied with Ash. So that's what I was trying to talk about with last night with a couple of people. Like, I'm like, bro, Ivara, don't let the size, don't let the stats fool you. Once you build her the correct way and use her the right way, she is just amazing as far as with her kit. Her first, third, and fourth abilities, mostly, she just wrecks everything. And as far as with new players now, as far as, coming into the game, you getting used to the ropes and stuff, you got your Warframes and stuff, the Warframes you want to go for, down the road, I suggest you get Ivara as quick as possible. Do those spies, get the systems, the chassis, and then the optics, and then the blueprint, and build her, man. Because once you have her, you could do practically any mission, and you will be just fine with her. Spy included. She's the best at spy, along with Loki. You can use Ash if you want to as well. But as far as with Ivara, she could go through lasers. If you have her augment, as far as with going through those barriers. So Spy, she'll just go through that with a breeze. You don't even have to worry about Spy anymore once you have Ivara. So Ivara is she is that good in this game. So I practically just wanted to, make a video as far as me covering Ivara and whatnot, because as far as with new players trying to get her, because she's just that good. And some people use her, but I'm seeing like a good percentage of people not using her, and I'm like, she's just that good. But it is what it is, man. Ivara is just that top tier. And if some people tell you otherwise, as Ivara not even good, you need to go and look up her stuff as far as how good she really is, because she's in a class of her own.